Chief Justice urges leaders to agree for country's sake. Opposition camp adamant that it is intact. And 3 MPs tested positive for COVID-19.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Horere.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for National EMTV News. Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika is gravely concerned about what will transpire on the 1st of December 2020, the date opposition adjourned the Parliament to. He told parties involved in the application filed by Peter O'Neill to come to an agreement on the best decision for the court and for the country. The Chief Justice wants a decision tomorrow, as he says time is of the essence.
The Supreme Court convened today for the application filed by member for Yali Bupangia Peter O'Neill challenging the legality of the Speaker recalling the Parliament on the 17th of November and the passing of the 2021 budget by the government on the same day. 5 other parties have shown interest in the case, and they are the Clerk of Parliament, the Treasurer, the Finance Minister, the Prime Minister, and Paul Paraka as a private citizen. Whilst showing interest, they are yet to file their respective applications to intervene. But that wasn't a major concern for Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika. His major concern is what will transpire on Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, which is 5 days away, if parties are still not prepared to proceed with the matter. He told lawyers representing each party that the court is ready and willing to hear this important case for the interest of the country. While the Chief Justice agrees with the government lawyers that the case should not be rushed as these are important constitutional matters, he said he is a little bit cautious over the volatile situation the events can create. Lawyers, in attempting to assist the court through words back and forth with the government side, suggesting the court to stay both Parliament adjournments to give time for parties to prepare for the matter. Opposition lawyers, on the other hand, accused the government side of deliberately delaying the process, adding that the court shouldn't be rushed, but neither should justice be delayed. With a lot of disagreements, the Chief Justice adjourned the matter to 9:30 tomorrow to allow for parties to negotiate either a stay or adjournment of Parliament to another time because time is of the essence. Those who wish to be part of the matter have been advised to file their applications to intervene and all other necessary documents by Friday. Outside of court, an eager crowd awaiting news from inside the courtroom. Police was in full force to manage the crowd and provide security outside of the courthouse. Vehicles were strictly checked before entering the court premises. Similar security arrangements are expected tomorrow when the matter returns. Meanwhile, the opposition leader's application challenging the legality of the process involved in appointing James Marape as the Prime Minister is also expected tomorrow. Shamin Poreambab, National EMTV News.
The opposition camp in Vanimo is confident that it will remain intact despite talks of MPs moving between camps. Opposition leader Belden Nama, who flew back to the province after attending his case in Port Moresby, says the Vanimo camp will await the court's ruling. Nama is challenging the election of James Marape as Prime Minister in May last year. Annette Cora reports from Vanimo.
Flanked by party leaders and a number of ministers who defected from the government side, opposition leader Belden Nama expressed a note of adherence to the rule of law whilst awaiting the decision by the courts.
Appeal to the Prime Minister, the Honourable James Marape, is that we got to respect the constitution of our country. And if the grace period is up and majority of the people do not have the faith in your leadership, which has been demonstrated by the ministers resigning, I think it's the honourable thing to do is you mobilize your numbers, we mobilize our numbers, and we go as per that date for us to elect a new Prime Minister of our country.
All the while holding up a signed joint signatory sheet signed by ministers who defected from the government. From those that defected and were decommissioned, 3 remained as ministers. However, National Alliance Party leader Patrick Pruitt officially announced his resignation as Minister for Foreign Affairs in Marape's cabinet. He expressed his thoughts today also in the conference.
Opportunity to thank the Prime Minister for having that confidence in the appointment of the Foreign Minister. However, I can't continue to serve him because his views of running the country is different from mine. How he managed the economy is totally the opposite of my thinking. And the recent event in terms of him handling resource projects are becoming too concerning for our economy, and that's why I've decided to resign.
Other members pledging their commitment towards the cause, highlighting similar disappointing sentiments and why they chose to defect. Additionally, calling on the government to stop using COVID-19 and legacy issues of past governments as the reason why the country's economy is not picking up.
We are confident that we can turn this country around quickly. A country that is drowning in debt, that is driving away foreign investment, jobs are being lost, SMEs are closing down, people are going back to the village, law and order issues are escalating. And you cannot continue to use the excuse of COVID. You cannot continue to blame former governments over and over. You have made very, very high slogans and statements, and unfortunately, they have rung hollow. There's nothing actually happening. We are going backwards. We are not going forwards.
Economic independence, that is not there. All governors also know that the new mining and resource laws, even though it's framed and talked about in terms of taking back PNG and giving it to the landowners, the resource owners, and the provincial governments and the LLGs, there is an absence of it in the current organic law that is now put on the floor of Parliament against advice and against strong pressure from people like myself.
And at Cora, National EMTV News, Vanimo.
The Vanimo camp has 57 MPs on the ground. Here are some of them. PNC has the largest number with 15 MPs, followed by one-party MPs, including Western Highlands Governor Pius Wingti. This group has 9 members. National Alliance has 6. United Labour Party, led by Sam Basil, also has 6, while Sir Julius Chan's People's Progress Party has 4.
Been 9 days since the formation of the opposition camp here in Vanimo, Sundown Province, and the number still stands at 57. Opposition leader Belden Nama, who left for Port Moresby for the hearing of his case against the election of the Prime Minister, the courts having found a standing in the case, has now proceeded to the substantive matter. Additionally, former Prime Minister and member for Yalibu Pangia Peter O'Neill's case, challenging the legality of the Speaker recalling Parliament, is expected to be heard at the Waigani courts. Depending on what the decision is yet to be made in court relating to Nama's case and the hearing on O'Neill's application, progress for the opposition moving forward would be made known. At the moment, despite the opposition being tight-lipped awaiting the court's decision and hearing on O'Neill and Nama's case, movement of leaders back and forth within the province to meet with associates and other leaders are frequent. While the agenda still remains unknown, it is anticipated the Vanimo camp will be holding a press conference tomorrow. This is a developing story, and we will bring you more updates as new information becomes available. And at Cora, National EMTV News, Vanimo.
United Labour Party leader Sam Basil has acknowledged the call made by the Police Commissioner to remain neutral and the Trade Union Congress for politicians to sort out their differences. He said regardless of the current political situation, public servants must not let unnecessary obstacles and intimidation disrupt the flow of vital services to the people of PNG.
The Commissioner of Police, David Manning, and I'd also like to commend the Trade Union Congress to have delivered a fair statement to the both sides, the Lolowata camp and the Vanimo camp, to respect the rule of law and the processes of the government and the Constitution. So I'd like to personally thank both of them to make this very good statement in light of what is happening now. And I would like to call on the Marape team to respect that, because from the Vanimo camp behind Nama, we will respect that call as well. Thank you.
3 members of parliament camping at Loloata Island Resort have tested positive to COVID-19 as health workers ramp up testing for contacts, including members of parliament and hotel staff. Pandemic controller David Manning confirms he has written to the Speaker's office advising him of the current situation. One member, however, who was understood to have been at Loloata, later flew to Vanimo to join the opposition, has had his samples taken by the provincial health authority there.
Dr. Downey is here, so...
The controller confirmed MTV's report this afternoon of a case at Loloata, adding as samples were collected, 2 more cases were identified.
That we did have a confirmed case, a COVID-19 case, a national member a member of the National Parliament, and he has since been isolated from the rest of the camp. He was reported to have been camping in the government's camp at Loloata Island. He has since been removed from there, and he's being isolated at a designated isolation facility here. As a result of further tests, we did pick up another 2 cases, positive cases, and of course they have now been isolated as well.
Dr. Eserom Downey, who is the National Incidents Manager, spoke of the situation now at Loloata.
So those 2 came back positive. Out of the 51 persons that were in our land listing, they showed that they were in contact with a member. Our team is now back on the island, doing more contact tracing of the contacts of the 2 newly diagnosed cases, and also we've given our staff advice to swab essentially everybody on the island now.
One of those on Loloata who later flew to Vanimo has been traced by the provincial team for samples.
We also identified that one of the contacts, a member who actually left the camp in Loloata and is now in Vanimo, with the camp in Vanimo. So we've got it in touch with our PHA team, Rapid Response Team, as well as team in Sundown PHA, and they are now doing the swabbing and also the land listing and subsequently the swabbing of all the contacts.
The hotel staff on the island will be tested in the coming days and the facilities disinfected.
Everybody who are in contact with the members and also all the hotel staff. So that's underway at the moment. Our staff also at the Central Public Health have been advised to be on 24 hours. So when the results come in, they will test them on the spot so that we have a quick turnaround of results, and also we can that would guide us on and strategize on the way forward.
Bradley Valenaki, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more of the day's stories after the break. Stay with us. Swire Shipping's first newly built vessel, MV Lei Chief, completed its first maiden voyage from Shanghai in China to Lei on Monday. MV Lei Chief is one of the 4 newly built ships that is expected to carry 2,700 forest products and vehicles up to 70 tons. The vessel was launched yesterday at Lei's tidal basin. She will continue its journey to Port Moresby, Townsville, Australia, before returning to Shanghai.
This vessel has the capacity to carry 2,720 food containers. MV Lei Chief is Swire Shipping's largest container vessel that will be operating in the country.
The company has 32 vessels. We have 5 services that call into PNG. They come from China to Australia and Singapore to Australia and New Zealand. So we're the largest by volume of containers coming into the country.
Swire Shipping Country Manager Alistus Kingley says the new ship will run fortnightly and will be offering its customers a reliable service.
Part of delivering this new tonnage is we've started a fixed day fortnightly service, which means every other Sunday in lay, we'll get one of these turning up. So it allows our customers to start taking delivery of their cargo on a Monday. It makes the supply chain a lot quicker, a lot easier, a lot more efficient. So not only do the vessels call here, they will call in Murikia, Port Moresby.
If the businesses or shipping liners are now bringing in lots of vessels, then it will take an impact on the decision of PNG Ports and the government to try and create a facility that is conducive and safe for them. So naturally what it means for us is we have to start planning now and looking at what we can do to invest in the extension of the berth. And that might happen in the next 3 to 5 years.
The vessel MV Lei Chief was built this year and is registered in Hong Kong. It is one of the 4 newly built vessels offered by Swire Shipping that would connect North Asia with PNG and Australia in 14 days. PNG Ports Managing Director Fego Kinyafa said the service provided by the new vessel is a benefit to the country.
There are different streams of revenue for PNG Ports alone. We do benefit from pilotage, that is the guiding of vessels coming alongside and going out safely. And we do get some revenue from the containers that are loaded and unloaded and the cargo that goes on and off. So generally, when it comes with a bigger capacity, you expect that it will have a positive impact on the revenue of the business. And if it comes full loaded, then there's extra revenue coming through the country, not only through PNG Ports, but through the entire supply chain.
This new development is part of the government's plan to modernize all the ports in PNG. The International Container Terminal Services General Manager, George Guare, said ICTSI will ensure to provide the operational capacity to prepare for such vessels entering Lae Port.
When you want to modernize, you've got to have reliable power supply, you've got to have reliable internet services, and that's one of those. I would not say more about people think that in third world country it's people as well is another challenge.
First, we will bring a ship-to-shore crane here. Our ICTSI partners already have plans to bring a ship-to-shore crane that will be much more quicker in getting the containers on and off.
Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News, Lae.
In any economy, it is the subject that swings public opinion this way or that. That is an important issue for anyone discussing the budget. For Papua New Guinea, it is the source of political debate and votes of no confidence. In this report, we look at the arguments around our economic debt in light of COVID-19 and the slow growth in the resource sector.
The Papua New Guinea economy was hit hard in March when the rest of the world buckled under the pressure of the COVID-19 epidemic. As large economies ground to a halt and as airlines stopped flying, small businesses were decimated, people were put out of jobs, and Papua New Guinea braced for the worst.
Do not blame this government for an international crisis that was not of its own making.
In Parliament during budget session, Treasurer Ian Lingstaki recounted the events of the past 9 months, reminding the House that global debt levels caused by COVID-19 have surpassed the previous post-war peak of $106 trillion.
Mr. Speaker, I do not want to focus on the crises that we are experiencing. I want to look ahead. I want to be positive, realistically.
With our small economy of 80 billion kina or $23 billion, the global figures are hard to comprehend. For instance, by the end of the year, US debt levels alone will pass $200 trillion, which represents 3.5 times the total value of goods and services produced in the US. And the massive debt overseas, not just in the US but in every major economy caused by COVID-19, affects the PNG economy in a big way. There is hesitant foreign spending into the economy, labour mobility into Papua New Guinea for key projects are delayed, and import-export activities are at their lowest. All of the above have featured prominently in the 2021 budget projections. For Papua New Guinea, COVID-19 alone is expected to add 10 billion kina more over 4 years to our hidden, as the Treasurer says, and visible debt of some 50 billion kina. That's equal to more than half the total worth of the PNG economy. he says even the debt-to-GDP ratio now is some 20% below historical levels of 70% in the early 2000s. And that was prior to the global financial crisis of the 2008-2009 period and the construction phase of the LNG project in 2010, if we are to use those periods as points in our economic timeline. But debt is always a point of contention. It's a murky region of economics, foreign relations, and politics that leaves many people asking themselves if they do really understand what the politicians and bureaucrats are arguing about. This government, like every other government before it, blames the previous.
And now the opposition wants to go and throw all that away to create chaos as our economy is recovering. Shame on you.
And Treasurer Ling Starkey argues that the PNG government is now using cheaper debt from the IMF to service, meaning pay off, expensive debt sourced by the O'Neill-Abel government. Treasury's projections are that by 2023, the economy will grow to 90 billion kina and eventually hit the 100 billion kina mark, if there is no disruption to revenues and if the current revenue generation and debt reduction strategies are followed. These projections have been made without factoring in the Wafi Golpu project, the Papua LNG, or the Mayor Resource Coal project in the Gulf province. According to industry experts, those resource projects are expected to come online during the election year in 2022. For Porgera, if negotiations are closed, it should reopen in 2021. The Bank of Papua New Guinea has noted that Porgera's closure has also caused a dip in tax revenue on various fronts. Confirming what the Treasurer says, the central bank predicted steady increases in debt to 48 billion kina by December. It also warns that while prioritizing the impacts of COVID-19, government should not lose focus on key areas like agriculture, infrastructure and SMEs. Scott Waide, National EMTV News.
The controversial 2021 budget was analysed by experts from the private sector yesterday morning at a business breakfast hosted by the Port Moresby Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Among the many topics covered, there were talks about personal income tax revenue collection, key resource projects and government expenditure. The breakfast saw presentations from Deloitte PNG and Asian Development Bank, as well as a panel discussion involving key business figures in the country. The last 3 months have been marred with political tension, public servants missing out on CPI adjustments in the national budget, SME funding allocation through commercial banks, and some tax reforms by the Internal Revenue Commission. Personal income tax continues to be the biggest revenue earner for the PNG government in terms of taxes. According to Deloitte PNG, personal income tax collection is projected to increase by 4.5% in the 2021 national budget compared to the previous year's budget.
Government revenue is about 12.9 or 13 billion forecast for 2021. So tax is the major component of government revenue. So if these numbers aren't met, then the 6.6 billion deficit, of course, will be challenged, as in could blow out a bit more.
This means the collection of tax revenue in terms of personal income tax will be increased next year, with the IRC aiming to expand on what it has collected through personal income tax this year.
If you've ever seen the income tax legislation, it starts in, I think, 1957, and over the years it just gets bigger. So every 20 or 30 years, a whole group of very smart lawyers sit down and try and rewrite it so that, the language is a little bit more accessible to current day. And it tries to take into all of the, the new modalities of doing business. Digital technology and all of those types of things. So that's why our income tax rewrite has started in 2016.
The controversial passing of the 2021 budget, when the 18-month grace period for the government lapsed, has led PNG to the corridor of uncertainty as political camps continue and the courts deliberate on relevant matters. However, the business community will deal with the 2021 budget although being controversially passed, as experts say upon analysis that it is important for business to continue to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic effects and look forward to implementing the national budget successfully.
You recall when we did this session last year, COVID wasn't around, so we had bigger hopes and dreams of doing so many different things. And then I think we got to March, April, May, and things got very tight with COVID. So we needed to make large amounts of money available into the pockets of our people. We don't have a health problem as such. We've got an economic problem.
Public finance economist with the Asian Development Bank, Abhimanyu Dadu, pointed out during his analysis presentation of the 2021 national budget that the budget was released under enormous domestic and global uncertainty. He also analyzed that the 2021 budget and macro fiscal framework is playing a balancing act between the need for consolidation and growth.
7.3% fiscal deficit in 2021, with another very wide fiscal deficit, which is due to government strategy of increasing capital expenditure to support economic growth. However, it remains uncertain how this will be financed.
Economy experts also say the fiscal framework in 2021 is at risk from underfinancing and ambitious reforms. And now looking at the NASFAN market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina is buying $0.2775, $0.3728 Australian dollars, $0.2251 euro, and 28.33 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and copra closed lower, cocoa closed higher, crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 454.97 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 39.23 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 32.75 points higher. Still to come on National EMTV News, Octedi supports treatment for cancer, and Madang Provincial Health Authority to renovate rundown clinic. Details after the break. Welcome back. Octedi Mining Limited has stepped in to support cancer treatment in the country. Today, a total of 300,000 kina was presented to Port Moresby General Hospital to support the establishment of the PNG Cancer Facility. The funds will go towards purchasing equipment to treat cancer patients.
Thank you everyone for coming. I don't have much.
In a small ceremony today, Octedi Mining Limited CEO Mus Jawera made this donation to Port Moresby General Hospital. These funds were raised through a fundraising campaign the company undertook in October and November. In this campaign, employees and business partners took part in various activities, including shaving their heads to signify the fight against cancer. This is part of their efforts to help ensure every Papua New Guinean has access to cancer treatment in the country.
And we really look forward to the small contribution that we make to the POM General Hospital to get this facility up and running as soon as possible. Okay, the donation will not be possible without the generous support of our employees who've really dug in deep during these difficult times to give to this worthy cause.
Octedi Mining Limited over the years has been committed to supporting the health sector. As part of its corporate social responsibility, they have been supporting health services in Tabubil and the North Fly district. And this is the first time the company has contributed towards cancer treatment in the country.
Again, that's all part of Octedi's contribution on top of the dividends, the royalties, and the compensation payments that we do as part of our community obligations.
The OTML CEO was also taken on a tour of the cancer treatment facility at the hospital. The cancer facility, once in operation, will provide all services relating to cancer treatment in the country. And this contribution will go towards purchasing cancer equipment for early diagnosis, treatment and monitoring.
To build a facility that is holistic approach, one-stop shop, early diagnosis, treatment, monitoring, all services at one place. This contribution will go towards early diagnosis of breast cancer. We are targeting the common cancers in the country, which is head and neck cancers, one, cervical cancer and breast cancer.
Port Moresby General Hospital, being the biggest hospital in the country, sees patients from all provinces, and over the years they have been faced with funding challenges. However, they are thankful for all contributions from stakeholders to help improve services at the hospital.
We certainly appreciate corporate support, which if we don't get it, we're sort of really going to be struggling. So Octedi, thank you very much to the staff of Octedi and to Octedi Company for matching those contributions and helping us get along our pathway to becoming a true level 7 hospital and certainly getting our cancer facility up and running.
Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
The Madang Provincial Health Authority has tasked officers to come up with a scope of work for minor renovations for the Madang Town Clinic. PHA CEO Fidelis Waipma says due to funding difficulties, they will not be carrying out any major facelifts. Waipma adds with the little funding they have, they will use it to maintain the clinic.
The Madang Town Clinic nurses have been attending to patients outside of the building for almost a year due to the bad state of the structure. The building has not been fixed for more than 10 years. It is infested with termites, there are cracks on the floorboards and other damage is visible to anyone who walks into the building. The poor state of the building has forced nurses to set up tents outside of the building to see patients. Madang Provincial Health Authority CEO Fidelis Waipma says they are aware of the problem and are planning to start work in December.
Yes, of course, we have a plan for that. And we are looking towards carrying out a minor renovation or rehabilitation of that facility within the month of December because we are still waiting for some funds to come in so that we can look at our trust account as well as some unused funds elsewhere so that the finance committee can sit down as together we can allocate some funds to support the maintenance of Madang Town Clinic.
Waipma adds they will also be seeking support from the local MP Brian Kramer to help in renovating the Madang Town Clinic. The clinic is situated in a strategic location where it also serves people outside of its catchment area.
We also will be looking at getting a joint partnership. Now we'll be looking at soliciting support from our Madang MP, Honorable Brian Kramer, to come in and support us in this endeavor to build or renovate this Madang Town Clinic here.
Madang District Program Health Manager Bernard Milton says the district had raised a check to an identified contractor to carry out maintenance work. However, the contractor is yet to start work on the rundown building.
We have already raised a check to one of the contractors that is worth 14,000 to Jama Builders. He has already collected some materials for the building, paints and other things, but all those things are in my office. But the contractor hasn't started work yet.
MTV contacted the local MP Brian Kramer via his Facebook account for a comment on the condition of the town clinic. Kramer says he has not been informed of the situation at the Madang Town Clinic and will need to look into it. However, he says under the Provincial Health Authority legislation, all health clinics now come under the Madang Provincial Health Authority. The Madang District Program Manager says every report that they prepare, a copy always goes to the office of the local MP.
I give all the reports.
Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
Trukai Sports is next. Fidelis Sukina has the details.
Yes, Dennis, Hunters relocation is crucial to the Intrust Super Cup. Join me for the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Good night and welcome to Trukai Sports. Participation by the SPPNG Hunters in the 2021 Queensland Intrust Super Cup season is important despite it being costly to relocate the team. Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League say that not fielding a team was not an option because it would have cost the Hunters their participation in the Queensland competition. The cost to relocate the SPPNG Hunters will be slightly more than what it costs to be based out of Port Moresby. In recent years, the Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League had confirmed that the Hunters' budget was about 7 million kina plus. Acting CEO of PNG RFL Stanley Hondina, without giving out any figures, says it would cost around 15 to 20% more than what it costs to be based out of Port Moresby.
On the outset, I think it's 15 to 20% more than what we used to naturally host here. But I think the returns of it on the other side it outweighs the difference that we will pay in that component, but not as big as 50 or 30%. It's just a slight difference to the cost that we traditionally have here.
Based out of Port Moresby, the SPPNG Hunters met the flight cost and accommodation of visiting teams. While it is not confirmed the arrangements in Southeast Queensland, Hondina says they have to play by the rules of the Queensland Rugby League, and PNG RFL will need to meet whatever cost is required to relocate. Not participating was never an option.
We play in a competition that is managed and run by them, so we play to their terms, and that's something that, while it will cost us, it's something that's our job to look for the sponsors and the support that we can get, but not filling a team in the competition is not good for the country. We've worked hard to get in there, and if we don't partake, then there are repercussions that come with it, and it may cost us time and resources again to get in. So
SPPNG Hunters coach Matthew Church says there are many teams vying to participate in the Intrust Super Cup, and while it might be costly for the Hunters, it would set the team back on the sidelines if they had chosen not to participate in the competition.
A couple of other teams that are waiting to get into the Intrust Super Cup, so when we were making a decision of what we wanted to do and competing and knowing it might be a bit more expensive, if we forego our position, then there's other teams ready to take off. So they've been jostling for a number of years to get in. I don't know how COVID's affected that, but if we chose not to compete, then we might not get back for a number of years. So that would be, for the development of the game in PNG, that would be a huge step backwards.
The relocation to Southeast Queensland would also provide an opportunity to build a strong base for the national side, the PNG LNG Kumuls.
Coach Matt and Coach Mike will have to work on the details of that, but like you correctly said, from an operations point of view, an opportunity to base in Australia might be a good time to utilize it as well to build a strong base for our World Cup campaign. But the details of it is something the technical people will have to work on it when we provide the direction on what we can do out of it. But yes, in short, it's a good opportunity to also build up for our World Cup campaign.
And Trukai Sports continues with boxing and sailing after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
And welcome back to Trukai Sports. To boxing abroad, the Junior FAR camp has breathed new life into the rescheduled heavyweight super fight against Joseph Parker, with FAR set for a mystery surgery tomorrow. The bout will now take place early next year. In the meantime, his trainer has taken a massive swing at Team Parker, claiming a lack of respect for his fighter.
It started off as any normal meeting between Joseph Parker and Junior FAR.
I wish Junior all the best with his surgery tomorrow.
Then this happened.
Stuff those guys.
they can kiss my ass.
And from that point, the gloves were off.
One thing that we've been reminded of through this is through renegotiating this fight and getting it on again, this is 100% the Higgins show.
You could tell from Parker's promoter David Higgins' reaction, he disagreed.
Frankly, we're a bit pissed off at the carry-on from their camp.
And all of a sudden, Higgins was in his element and stirring the pot.
There's rumour of a pre-existing condition, so I'll put that elephant back in the room.
Far's camp laughed off any link between the current problem and a pre-existing one. In fact, they were gutted the fight was rescheduled.
And the main advantage we had was these guys weren't taking this fight seriously.
There is no way that we would ever disrespect ourselves or disrespect Junior by not turning up in the best of shape.
We run these streets. We have our ear on the streets. If you're not taking this fight seriously, we know about it.
There were even rumours floating around that Joe had broken sparring partner David Nika's ribs.
He doesn't look injured to me. Are you injured? No.
And David backed that up with evidence.
It's okay. We're good. We're fit and healthy.
The fight of the century in the ring, all of a sudden living up to its billing out of it.
To sailing, the Kiwi sailing team is near the top of a lead global pack. Team New Zealand making waves in the inaugural Sport Technology Power List.
We've long known Team New Zealand's been at the top of the sailing game when it comes to technology. But now that reputation for innovation's been acknowledged at a much broader level.
Oh, it's really cool, and I think it's great for the team.
Call it a win for the team behind the team, whose design and innovation in creating the AC75s has seen them named at number 3 on the first ever Sport Technology Power List. Basically, who's leading the charge when it comes to tech development across the entire sport industry?
We cover a lot of ground, and we're all working really hard to push technology forward. I think you'd be pretty amazed if you saw inside one of these yachts what a complex machine it is.
Taking top spot on the list, Formula One for its development in engine efficiency, followed by the Tour de France with its use of data technology to enhance the audience experience. Esteemed company already, but look who Team New Zealand's third placing ranks them above. These just a sample of the high-profile leagues, teams and industry leaders rounding out the top 50, including several multi-billion-dollar entities. And the message from the Kiwis, who spent a marathon 9.5 hours on the water yesterday.
We still have developments in foils, in rudders, and probably the thing with the shortest lead time is sails. So we'll be developing sails, that's jibs and mainsails, right up until the last couple of weeks before we race.
In a sport where technology is king, getting in front is one thing, staying in front another challenge altogether.
And that story wraps up True Kai Sports, the weather report for the next 24 hours after the break. Bye for now.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. To the regional weather, southern region, Port Moresby, partly cloudy with chances of rain showers and drizzles. Daru, partly cloudy with a few showers. Kerama, a shower or two. Alotau, mostly fine, partly cloudy. Popondetta, partly cloudy with a shower or two. To the Momasa region, Lae, partly cloudy with few evening showers. Madang, rain showers and thunderstorms easing. Wewak, a few showers, then partly cloudy. Vanimo, partly cloudy with a few evening showers. To the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, a few thundery showers. Kavieng, thundery rain showers. Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka, cloudy with evening showers. To the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, occasional rain showers and thunderstorms. Goroka and Kundiawa, a few evening thundery showers and drizzles. Mendi and Wabeg, partly cloudy with evening rain drizzles.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The way it is this Wednesday, the 25th of November 2020, on behalf of the news team, I'm Denny Sorare. Good night.